I'm going to tell you the story of my nemesis, which is the 1-point relay buzzing, and we're going to use the schematic diagram to diagnose the issue. The pinball that we're working on is this one, a Bally Skydiver 1964, and it's electromechanical, completely electromechanical. And the problem is this: the match unit step-up solenoid's buzzing, and the 1-point relay is energized and buzzing, closing these switches, and the 1-point score reel adds one. So the relevant circuit on the schematic is this, and I counted 10 switches. This is 2 switches, 2, 2, 5, and down here. So pretty simple. Visual inspection of underneath the play deck found one of the rollover button slingshots, 1-point switch, was closed due to the screw becoming loose in the underneath the play deck. So I fixed that, switched it on, thinking that was a piece of cake. Retest, and absolutely no change. The 1-point buzzer was still buzzing. So I had a look at all the rest of the switches and counted them all. They were all open. So the only thing I could think of is that the wiring had got a short circuit, which is slightly more tricky. So the first thing I did was disconnect the play deck Jones connector, and this is the wire that takes the signal to the 1-point relay. It's actually 55 volts to switch it on. So I removed that, plugged the connector back in, and everything worked. So it's somewhere between the connector and the furthest switch underneath the play deck. So I used a binary chop, and that is, so there are 10 switches and 1 connector, the Jones connector. That's 11. So if we split it in half and go to the 6th switch in the sequence, disconnect that, and see if the problem is in the first part, downstream, or upstream. In my case, it was downstream, closer to the connector. So I removed I removed the connection at the rollover switch, which was about position 3. Well, actually 3 from the Jones connector. That didn't fix it. So the next thing is I jumped to the position 2, which was the Thumper Bumper relay switch. This one here. Disconnected that, buzzing stopped. So had a look at that, and here it is. And what I found was that during manufacture, this solder joint was extremely close to the other side of the switch. You can almost see a sort of tiny gap here. So while it was off, I had a look at the sleeve, and when I rotated it around about 90 degrees, I found that it had burnt and carbonized, and was presumably causing a short between these two across the switch between these 2 points. So I replaced this, soldered it back, and the pinball startup sequence is now working. The pinball startup sequence is the boot, where it sets the score reels to 0. It winds around the score motor to its start position. Clears the ball, clears the count of free games. Well, not clears, takes one off, lets the ball, releases the balls, all that, and so it's ready to play. So I started playing it, and to my horror, during the game, the 1-point relay started buzzing again. Exactly the same symptoms. So in this case, I rebooted the pinball machine, and using a screwdriver, I went over all the switches on the play field, and I found that the right Thumper Bumper caused the right Thumper Bumper relay to energize and buzz. So I pulled this out of the schematic, and it's obviously a lot simpler than the schematic. These two are in completely different areas of the schematic, but pulling them together, you can see that the way this works is when a ball hits the right Thumper Bumper switch, this closes, it energizes the relay. Here's the Thumper Bumper relay switch, So that closes the Thumper Bumper solenoid end of stroke, and the solenoid is the piece of equipment that actually propels the ball across the playfield. Hasn't yet reached its end of stroke, so it holds the right Thumper Bumper relay closed until it does. When it does, the Thumper Bumper relay opens, and the Thumper Bumper relay here is now back to open, and it de-energizes the solenoid. It's also got this switch here, which is the right Thumper Bumper solenoid end of stroke, so it's another switch on the Thumper Bumper, two in parallel, and you think, what's that for? Because you've now got two ways of stopping the solenoid at the end of its stroke. Well, we'll come on to that later, but I was going to say the Stringlish of it is here, so if you want to pause the video and read that, it's sometimes easier to read the Stringlish than it is to interpret the circuit diagram ladder logic. Anyway, I pursued this because I was intrigued by why they would put an extra end of stroke switch on the solenoid, because it's made the mechanism quite a lot more complicated. Two switches parallel with each other. So I then looked at 1971. Now mine's the Skydivers is 1964. So this is I don't know, 7 years later. Same designer, Ted Zale, and it's the Bally Mariner. It's got the same Thumper bumpers here, same mechanism. So I had to look at it, and there's the red Thumper Bumper solenoid. So that's what actually pumps this down and shoots the ball over the table. And you can see it's just got the red Thumper Bumper relay switch. It doesn't have the end of stroke, so they've taken it out. And here's the circuit for the Thumper Bumper relay, and it's exactly the same. It's got this holding the relay shut until the Thumper Bumper mechanism hits its end of stroke. So it's interesting. So sometime in between Skydivers and the Mariner, they figured out that was a switch that they really didn't need. So somebody spotted it and removed it. We could do a binary chop on the Bally pinball machines from 64 to 71 and find out actually when that did happen. But and the other interesting thing I was going to say is that the circuit diagram now adopts proper ladder logic symbols. So there's a normally open switch, and there's a normally closed. And also they've inverted it. So this is the power here, which is pretty close to the solenoid and the relay, and this is neutral or common. And they've obviously done this to avoid sending 55 volts all over the place. It's sort of quite a short distance. So after I adjusted the switch on the end of stroke, it all started working, and the 1-point relay stopped buzzing. So we have a working pinball machine again. Okay, well I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you another time.